Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories like these. Now, let's get into today's story video. AITA for telling my friend to drop a cheating ex after they reconnected even though she says he's better. According to Amber, she and this guy used to be in a long-distance relationship before meeting one another. In response to Amber's insistence that he needed some time away to recover, he cheats on her with a common acquaintance after lying to the friend about how he and Amber meant to experiment with polyamory together. Amber is obviously angry as a consequence of this and ditches him as a result of it. Amber had only just reconnected with him after a common friend produced a ruckus in our group because she wanted to express herself about something she had gone through. Amber had only recently reconnected with him after a mutual friend caused a ruckus in our group. As a result of our reconnection, I have no prior knowledge of him, and all I know about him is what Amber has told me about him and what I've learned about him via our games with the two of them. During this period, Amber and this man become closer and begin to discuss the possibilities of resuming their relationship. Despite the fact that it isn't a very clever strategy, I reasoned it is her only other option. It has come to my attention that he has harassed individuals, made fun of Amber, and criticized people for their choices in game chat, which strikes me as ironic, and I cannot help but conclude that he is a horrible guy in general. Consequently, even though I'm far from being a saint, I don't believe he's all that horrible. Isn't it true that there are certain individuals who behave in this manner? Amber reassures me that he isn't all negative. He is only competitive, ridiculing her, and having high standards of himself and others. My realization of what he had done didn't occur to me until 2 days later. When I look back, I view all of his flaws as warning signs that something wasn't quite right with him at the time. In response, his bullying appears to be borderline verbal abuse. His criticizing appears to be him attempting to make Amber feel like he knows best, which is hypocritical given what he did. And his high standards lead me to believe that he is dealing with significant amounts of anger. And, more importantly, how will he treat Amber if something she does in the future is different from what he likes in the present, because she is different from him in the present? The consensus among us is that he is not a good guy, he has abusive tendencies, and he seems to be attempting to gain control over Amber. Amber's brother and his wife, as well as me, have all expressed our dissatisfaction with him. In a nutshell, we inform her that she must terminate her connection with him. It is not a good idea to let a relationship to develop on its own without intervention. You should avoid traveling to another country to see him. Remove him from the situation as quickly as feasible. His wife, on the other hand, is telling us that he has made significant improvements. That his traumatic experience is the underlying cause of his behavior, and that he has made significant strides forward in his rehabilitation. Her familiarity with him surpasses ours, and she communicates with him on a regular basis. As a result, all we have to go on are his Discord messages, and what we overhear him talking to her when the five of us are all playing games in the same room. We are unsatisfied with what we are watching, and we are concerned that her choice to allow him to remain in her life will prevent her from truly recovering from the pain he has caused her in the past, which we believe will be permanent. Is it because of this why we behave in such a jerkish manner? Story 2. AITA for not letting my daughter play with the neighbor's kids. So I have a 6-year-old daughter that enjoys playing outside on a daily basis. She hangs out with the same group of youngsters on a regular basis. We're going to give one of these youngsters the name Jared 5-ish-M. For the most part, Jared's parents are oblivious to their son's needs. On several occasions, he'll come outside in the same clothing for days on end, plainly dirty, and trying to stuff objects into his mouth at an alarming rate. His parents are capable of bathing and changing him. They are just too lazy and prefer to spend their time drinking rather than doing so. We neighbors are yelled at and accused of degrading their family, insulting their parenting and other such things when we seek to aid them in their situation. The other day, I saw the toddler touching the back of his neck. Not a light scratch, either. He's getting down and dirty. I was able to identify the source of the irritation almost quickly and called my daughter and niece. Their answers were that their heads had not itched, but I checked nevertheless and discovered that they did indeed have lice. I ushered them inside the house and went to the pharmacy to get lice shampoo since that thing was spreading like wildfire and I had no desire in becoming a victim. After the females have been treated, everything will be well. Because it is a wet day, there will be no time spent outside today. Neighborhood children are aware that they are welcome at our house, and they often go in, say hello, and immediately begin playing. When Jared comes through the door, I tell him he needs to go home right now. I don't tell him why. Instead, I gently notify him that he will not be able to stay over today. He runs out the door, tears streaming down his face, and his parents come approximately 5 minutes later, curious as to why I won't let him in. I notify them that he was infected with lice and that I did not want it in my residence. Their outraged and enraged responses included how could I say such a thing, that I was calling their son clean, and that it wasn't fair that other children could play inside but theirs couldn't because of the weather. I explained that the other kids could play, but theirs couldn't because I had spoken with their parents and that all of the kids had been tested, cleared, or treated before they were allowed to participate. After listening to them criticize me, I essentially informed them that it wasn't my fault that they'd rather buy liquor than clean up their son and treat him for lice, which they agreed with. They ultimately left after calling me a hole for not letting their kid inside the building with them. My husband believes that I could have handled the situation better. Although I've enjoyed being a third parent to this child, whom I don't even know, after months of cleaning up after him when he visits, feeding him when his parents forget, and even washing his clothes, I'm sick of being a third parent to someone I don't even know. So AITA, you've joined the ranks of Reddit users. I'd also want to remind out that the Child Protective Services, CPS, do not exist in my country. The cops will not interfere since the child is not in immediate danger, hence they will not intervene. Edit. I just wanted to convey my appreciation to everyone for their kind words and suggestions. My spouse and I are now developing a plan, and I will make sure to keep you informed as events unfold. Update. First and foremost, I'd want to convey my appreciation to everyone who has provided me with advice throughout the years. One statement stood out to me and provided me with an excellent idea. So after discussing it with my husband, we got a few materials and took care of the situation as quickly as we could. We visited Jared's house and spoke with his parents yesterday, which was a first for both of us. It was effectively an admission that I was to blame for the lice and an exaggerated apology for creating disappointment. As an expression of my regret, I offered to have their house thoroughly cleaned. I'm referring about treatments for all furniture, carpet, and any other surfaces that lice may be found on. I assured them that I would personally transport all of their belongings to be healed, that I would personally transport Jared to my house to heal his head, and that I would supply them with the shampoo and medicine they needed to cure themselves. They considered my offer to be very generous and accepted it. And so we spent the whole day treating their clothes and even purchased some refreshments to keep them occupied while we worked on Jared's apparel. Jared finished his meal and cleaned up, and life in the neighborhood has returned to normal. He is now welcome to come inside my house and play and dine with me. Again, I'd want to express my gratitude to everyone who took the time to leave a comment. Though doing these things was not cheap, it was well worth the investment to have that wonderful child taken proper care of. Edit to add, I'm losing track of all of the comments, so I just want to express my gratitude to everyone for their kind words and recognition. You guys helped me see that my husband and I were right in what we did. Even though I was afraid that I had gone too far in doing these things, I feel it was more of a cultural problem on my side. From the bottom of our hearts, we wish you the best of luck in your endeavors.